It's Chris from Good Roads, and I am gearing up to make my first limited edition run of Fingerboard decks. And the first step in that process is obviously going to be to press a whole bunch of decks. To that end, I'm going to be using my street style deck press with radial concave, available at goodroadscollective.com. Interesting. And in this video, I want to see if we can use this press to press multiple decks at once. So let's get into it. To start, let's get our veneer stacks laid out. I'm taking a stab at making 3 decks at once, and for this run, I'm going to be using a mix of curly maple, cherry, and walnut veneers. I'm still experimenting with methods to keep my blanks from getting glued to each other and to the mold. And this time around, I'm using wax paper to line the molds, and I'm trying out some packing tape folded over in order to separate the deck blanks from each other. And with my stack organized, it's time to get laminating. I squeezed myself out some Gorilla Glue and got spreading. Oh. Well, that one's good enough. Free top finish on it. I did not need to put glue on that layer, but since there's plastic going over top of it, I think it'll be okay. Just pop that in there, and then put the plastic in there, and assemble the next one. And yeah, let's not glue the top layer this time. That was silly. And I can't help thinking there's probably an easier way to do this. A topic for a future video, perhaps. Also, I am, once again, not wearing gloves here, and I should be. I shot this layup a while ago, and I've taken to using gloves since then, and you should too. But there's our last veneer. Pop this only up and right now, the plastic in between. Paper goes on top. Make sure it's all lined up with the mold here. It's tough getting this stack aligned because of how tall it is. I want to make sure it's all in the mold. I think I'm good. Alrighty. Let's clamp her down and see what we get here. It's going to be interesting. With all the layers glued up, it's into the press to get clamped down. That looks good. That looks like it's in there. That's exciting. Quick glance shows that we've got glue squeeze out and we are looking good. Now we just gotta wait, so I leave it overnight to cure. Before unmolding the decks, I'll use the built-in drilling guides to drill my bolt holes. Yeah, that's looking nice. Hey, that looks like it worked. Sort of. those look like good blanks. Hey, that that accidental glue on the top layer, that actually looks pretty dope. That's, yeah, man, that's like a built-in finish. Huh. Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? Interesting. A little bit of cleanup with a knife and I've got myself some nice deck blanks. But the final test to see if the layup went well will be to cut and shape the blanks. This will let me look at the glue lines and make sure everything is solid. I traced my shapes using the shaper blank. Ooh, that was awful close to the edge of those veneers. It's gonna work though. Rough cut the decks with sheet metal shears. And sanded them to shape. And all three of those layups are looking super clean. Which is excellent news because it means I think we're good using this method. Using these presses to press multiple decks at once seems to work great and gives me great results. I'm so happy with that, I made some more. These blanks are all 5-ply rock maple, and I made this batch for 2 reasons. The first reason is I want to show you the one, let's not call it a drawback, but the one big consideration for pressing a stack of decks like this. The curves of the boards all get nested in each other and end up being ever so slightly different. I'll try to show you. Here's the stack as it was pressed in the mold. And here are the same 3 decks with the order of the stack reversed. You can see that there are some small differences, mostly in the curve of the pocket and the transitions into the kicktails and concave. Now, that's not a huge deal. All of these decks came out great, and the differences are super subtle, especially at this size. But there are slight differences, and that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, the other reason I pressed the stack of decks is I want to try out my new shapers. A little while back, I released the first in a series of what I'm calling shaper packs. These are going to be packs of themed fingerboard shapers that you can use to make a wider variety of decks. This pack's theme is coffin, and the pack includes a traditional coffin shape, a modern chopped coffin cruiser, and I was struggling to come up with a third coffin related shape until I thought of this guy right here, the sarcophagus, which makes a dope old school fish shaped deck. The plan is going to be to release a pack of these every few months to keep the builds fresh. And I think I'm also going to be giving the print files away to my press operator and above tier supporters on Patreon. I really appreciate everything y'all do for me, and this is a way that I feel like I can give back a little bit. I transferred my profiles onto my blanks. And after some shaping and sanding, heck yeah, those are looking great. I'm really thrilled with how all these kind of atypical deck shapes came out. And I've kept running the presses too. I'm building up quite a stack of blanks. And in order to make those into finished boards, I've got a couple more things I need to figure out and a couple things that I want to figure out. Graphics is a big one. I think I'm gonna do some multimedia printmaking, maybe some laser cutting, we'll see. And I also wanna see if I can't take any of the steps in the process and make them a little bit easier and a little bit more streamlined, because there's a lot of repeated work. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed. Overall, I'm just stoked on this latest set of presses, the latest iteration of my presses. They seem to have a ton of utility. The more I use them, the more I like them, and I'm just really proud of how they came out. I'm also really stoked on this first set of funky shapers. The final decks I made with these came out great, and I can't wait to see what y'all do with them. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks as always to my supporters on Patreon. You are the thin sheet of wax paper that is keeping the mold that is this channel smooth and clean. If you want to support the channel, you can grab something from the shop over at goodroadscollective.com or consider joining the Patreon for yourself. It's kind of cool over there. You can also check out, we got a Discord, board builders Discord called the Shapers Guild. It's been kind of cool lately, people making neat stuff. Working on a press design over there. Check it out. And as always, I love having you along for the ride, so until next time, I'll see you soon. A topic for a future video, perhaps? Oh. What in the world? What even is that? Nothing should be using running water right now.